Sudan, a country that was being colonized in four periods. 1821, Egyptian leader Muhammad Ali Pasha wanted Sudan to be one of his domains, thereby sending his son Ismail to conquer Sudan. Mostly the northern part Egyptians make significant improvements to the Sudanese, such as economically restructuring the Sudanese economy by mostly irrigation and cotton production, plus the opening of the Suez Canal enabled more trading between Sudan and Egypt to many other countries, resulting in the rise of the economy of both countries. However, Ismail Pasha had gained great foreign debts for over years, which is a pretext for the great powers, the Britain and other powerful countries, to remove Ismail the conqueror and the governor of Sudan and replace him with Ismail's son Tewfik I. Tewfik I was a bad ruler, therefore which many corruptions and mismanagement, which resulted in the Arabi Revolt. Tewfik called for Britain's assistance, which led to massive bombardment in 1882 by the Britain to Egypt, Alexandria and Sudan's primary seaports, resulting in the conquering Egypt and Sudan by the Britain. Britain once again resigned Tewfik as Egypt's caliph, which also left the Sudan's hand on the caliph government, or Tewfik. Once again, this caliph government was in corruption and bad management and started to become notorious.
Eventually, part of the revolt, a Mahdist force, which is a Sudanese force led by Muhammad Ahmad Abd-Allah, or Mahdi, broke out and rose due to the economic crisis that caused by the European initiative against slave trade. This force wanted to end the outsiders' rule in Sudan, which they opened a revolution, caused the death of the British governor in Khartoum. The Britain, followed by the Egyptians, withdrew their forces in Sudan and brought the Mahdi into governing of Sudan. The Mahdiya didn't use any Islamic laws, but it used laws that focused on political, which people of Sudan and also the Muslims didn't support his governing. He destroyed everything that was not in his ruling ideas, like books of governing or mosque in north of Sudan. He challenged people neither to join his force or being destroyed by his force. 6 months from the fall of Khartoum, Mahdi died from illness. Power struggled between his followers, but Abdallah Muhammad gained the support from the Arabs of Western Sudan. After Muhammad's power is steady, he declared himself Khalifa as a successor of Mahdi and appointed Arabs as Ansar. 1887, the Ansar people brought 60,000 man army and swept through into Gondar of Ethiopia. 1889, Ethiopia's king Johannes marching his armies on Medama, but Johannes fell in the battle, which also caused his armies to withdraw. Khalifa's general planned to invade Egypt, but Egypt in 1889, Egypt and Britain attacked Ansar near Egypt. The fallen of Ansar led to another fallen of Ansar in Ethiopia by the Italian forced Ansar to left Ethiopia. 1890s, Britain wanted to regain their power on Sudan. So, Britain and Egypt, through battles of Alberia and Battle of Omdurman, Britain had defeated the Mahdist army, forcing Abbas II to accept to co-rule Sudan under an agreement called Anglo-Egyptian Condominium, which is an agreement signed in January 1899 to agree on Sudan administered jointly by the two countries, Egypt and Britain. But Britain was mostly dominated the treaty since all the acts of Egypt to Sudan must get through the British agreement. The Britain once again having complete control of Sudan, and the ideas of social Darwinism was again shown between Egyptian and British. Muhammad Ali Pasha was present to governing Sudan, but Sudan was administered as a British colony. The efforts from Muhammad Ali Pasha to unite the Nile Valley and take it under control of Egypt, but all the efforts was failed by the British. Sudan was also involved in the World War II, since Sudan is Britain colonies. European countries built the Sudan Defense Forces in Sudan, which Egyptians nearly had no power on Sudan. British kept occupying Sudan, created a nationalist backlash. This led to the Egyptian Revolution in 1952 that began Sudan towards their independence. Successfully abolished monarchy in 1953, Egyptian leader Muhammad Naguib believed in order to kick Britain out of Sudan, Egyptians need to kick themselves out of Sudan too. In other words, the Egyptians need to stop their sovereignty over Sudan. Hence, the failure government management of Britain in Cairo fueled them to finally with Egypt to let go of Sudan. And finally, Sudan gained their own independence in January 1956, when both countries signed a treaty to let Sudan have their independence. Egypt had revolted from the dominance of the British, and they did it because they felt that it is necessary to stand up for the Egyptian, not only for the land. The revolution of Egyptian not only brought the independence for Sudan, but also the people nationalism to their country. Because they could have gained support from the Britain without if they didn't let Sudan free. Also, from the end of 19th century, hundreds of Sudanese had a revolution that caused the Britain to withdraw their forces from Sudan. The independence of Sudan wasn't a good choice for the Egypt because Egypt didn't gain anything from it. They also caused civil war between the north and the south since it became independent. But they did it because of the idea of nationalism. The Mahdi also wasn't a good government. He put people into hard ruling that care only about the political power, but the ideas of nationalism make them. Through many series of time, from the Egyptian occupation to the Britain bombardment, to the Mahdist force ruling period, and to the period where Britain and Egypt together ruled Sudan after Britain defeated the Mahdist force. Sudan finally gained their independence in January 1956 after Britain and Egypt signed a treaty to withdraw their sovereignty from Sudan.